You know, I always loved music. I was always going along to gigs every kind of, you know, I was always getting, you know, Christmas was always record tokens, and I always fondly remember heading up to Edinburgh on an East of Scotland bus to trawl the record stores and coming back with armfuls of vinyl. And, you know, I think it was, you know, it was one of those things where it was a dream more than anything else. And I went along to see a Peter Gabriel gig at the Odeon, and, oh, God, when was it? 79, I think it was. And the PA went down, Gabriel was stuttering and stammering, and it wasn't, you know, a particularly great performance. And it was kind of, the Emperor laid bare in a way. And I kind of went, well, wait a minute, you know, these aren't gods. You know, you kind of saw, you saw the mortality behind it all, you know. And I kind of went, yeah, and I actually came out of the gig, and I bumped into a friend of mine from school who was a drummer, and he asked me to audition for a band, and I went along, and I'd never sung through a microphone before. I was standing about a foot off the mic trying to sing through it. And they basically said, come back when you've got a little bit more experience. And then I went, no, well, I'm going to do this. And I think I got fired up, and being stubborn and Tyrian and all the rest of it, I went, I'm going to do this, you know. Yeah. And bit by bit, I fell into, you know, I eventually joined Marilion in January 81, but that's a long time ago. Let's move forward.
I tear a page from the book of faces, throw your letters in an open fire. I couldn't say that I still despise you, but I'm finding it harder not to. After all that was said and done, it's time this thing was over. Did I want you to change your mind? Well, I don't honestly think so. Picking me up like a lovesick puppet, you were dancing me over a burning flame. You kept pulling the strings, the few strands left remaining. You just wouldn't let me go. Running out of words, running out of lines, running out of things to say. We're running out of heart, running out of love, running out of reasons to stay. There was something so deeply flawed. In the beginning we tried to deny it, just like a crack in a china doll, a masquerade in silence, where we tried to recognize just who exactly we had tried to hide. We played our roles in this grand design, fooled ourselves in our own disguises. Running out of pills, running out of smoke, running out of fine white wines. We're running out of road, running out of fuel, running out of places to hide. It's a feast of consequences, facing up to a feast of consequences. Bearing down on a feast of consequences. It looks like we're dying alone. For a war-drunk poet, losing my mind in a dancing flame. It kept pulling the strings, the few strands left remaining. It just wouldn't let me go. Running out of words, running out of hope, running out of resources. We're running out of time, running out of space, running out of tomorrows.
Woke up and the toilet was overflowing. Must call the plumber. Realised the kids needed swimming lessons as it's all got out of control. Luckily the old windows gave out, so we all floated outside. Must get on to the glazers. And now the garden looks atrocious. Now what was the number for that landscaper?
Because you never know when a potential customer needs you, get yourself listed in your local flyer, the local business directory. Your local flyer, bringing businesses to your fingertips.
Gary Fitz here, every Monday, 10 o'clock.
Coming up, we've got Eric and Ernie.
Join me here on Seclo Sounds.
In your smile.
It's from 1975. Eric and Ernie were four...
Gary, it's not Eric and Ernie, it's Earl and Ernie, the Cape Brothers, Union Man.
Oh, I see.
Gary Fitz here, every Monday, 10 o'clock.
Earl and Ernie.
You're listening to the Sticks Radio Show here on Seclo Sounds, and that was for my guest today, Fish. That was from his most recent album. That was the title track, A Feast of Consequence. And let's rejoin my guest today, none other than Fish. Well, let's talk about the new album then, shall we?
Yeah, that'd be an idea.
That's a great... I mean, I like the new album. I think it's really, really nice. Tell us a little bit about... Because it's rumoured it's going to be your last album.
No, the last album is going to be called Weltschmerz, and that's the album that I'm working on this year, which we're going to be recording probably at the beginning of next year. The kind of time frames have moved back a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, I think Feast of Consequences, which was, the last album that came out, 2012-13, it was, it was a real labour of love, and I really enjoyed writing it. I think it's particularly the High Wood section, which was a five-song section all about World War One, and in particular this area called the High Wood that was on the Somme battlefield. And it was, I just got really into writing, and I think at the time I was unsure of what I was going to do. I mean, 30 Star was the previous album, and that was about 5 years previously, and I had gone through 2 vocal operations since then. And I was really unsure of what I was doing. I mean, I'd done the Fishheads Club tour, which was a big 180-day acoustic tour, just as a 3-piece with a guitar, piano, and my vocal, And I think I got back into songwriting, I think, by deconstructing the songs in the Fishheads Club tour. I kind of got back into writing, and it got me excited. So when I went into Feast of Consequences, I took a very different stripped-down approach to it all. And, when Steve Vancis, I came up, he was one of the principal writers, I said to him, don't bring the computers, bring an acoustic guitar, and this is the way we're going to work it. And I think, when you listen to Feast of Consequences, the songs are all very, very strong. And I think because I really enjoyed doing it, because it took a while doing it, I didn't just want to rush out and create a piece of plastic to throw at a fan base and get the trawl net out for the money, I wanted to make something that I was proud of,
Yeah.
And when Feast of Consequences came out, the reviews were such that, they were kind of inspirational, and I went, yeah, it felt really good. I think if Feast of Consequences had received kind of mediocre reviews and, it hadn't sparked up anything, then I think I probably wouldn't be here talking on the phone to you. Because I think I've already been retired. But I think Feast of Consequences was such a success that inspired me to go on, and I felt, there's one more album here, there's one more album I can do. And at the same time, when I went out on the tour, I realised that there was a kind of sell-by date in a way, and I felt that, I'm going to be 58 this year. 2018, I'm going to be 60. And, as we said previously, that, people have to go out on the road now, and, it's harder and harder, to do tours, as you get older. It's easy when you're 30-year-old, your recovery rate's great, you've got a lot of energy, vitality, on a 24-hour basis. But, I mean, the reality is I really need to be playing to 2,000 to 3,000 people a night to make it work on a regular basis, And, I'm not going to be doing that. The business has completely changed. The live circuit's overloaded because there are so many bands out on the road. And it's like, wait a minute, there's other things I want to do. I mean, in 2018 when I retire, I'm not necessarily just going to be going out and gardening. I want to get into, there's autobiographies to write, there's screenplays that I've been wanting to write for ages because, you were talking about being back at school and what I wanted to do. I think, there was a parallel dream of either being an actor or a singer. And I think if I'd found a theatre group back then, I might have been doing an interview with you about my latest movie.
Yeah.
But as such, I found myself as a singer in a band. But at this point in my life, I'd like to go and do some more acting. I mean, I have never done enough in the last 10, 15 years that I would have loved to have done. And as I said, I mean, the bottom line is I'm a writer that can sing. I'm not a singer that writes. I'm a writer who can sing, and I want to explore my writing a lot more. You know?
Yeah, I mean, was there a reason for the sort of 7 or 8 year gap between, you know, the 13th Star and the Feast of Consequences?
I had 2 vocal operations.
Yeah, of course
one
you did,
that was diagnosed. Well, one that ended up being a cyst, and the other one was granulate cell growth. Excuse me. And both of them required 6 months off the road. I couldn't sing for 6 months. See, there's a year out. And then when the album came out, kind of late 2007 and 2008, you know, I was on the road for a year with that, and then at the end of 2008, I was in hospital, 6 months out, and then there was, you know, the 6 months when, you know, I basically I came back too quickly, I think, and then I had another operation, and then I had to basically, I don't know, I had to find myself again. I think, you know, I'd gone through a dreadful, horrific relationship and a second marriage, and which had really knocked me for 6. And, you know, I went out on the road with the Fish Heads Club tour for 180 shows over nearly 2 years. And when we came off that was when I went back into Right Feast of Consequences. Like I said, I mean, you know, I'm not into this sausage machine. Let's just put a piece of plastic out with 2 songs in it and a bunch of fillers. You know, when I go to write an album, you know? Yeah. And I want it to be the best thing I can do at that time. You know, I'm not going to turn around and just, you know, throw 12 songs together and just exploit a fan base. You know, I think, especially nowadays, the way I sell, where it's all through mail order, through fishheadsclub.com and you know, through Amazon, it's a completely different way of moving your albums and you know, what you create is a different way of exploiting them. And, you know, I'm very lucky and I'm very privileged that I've got a very loyal fan base, and I respect that fan base. And what you've got to do is, you know, you don't treat them, you know, just as if, you know, it's a bunch of credit card numbers. You've got to basically, you know, treat them with respect, give them product that's not overpriced, that's great quality, that's, you know, something that they want. But, you know, the bottom end of the day, it's still my album. I decide what goes on it. And you hope that people, you know, still enjoy what you do. And I'm lucky that my fan base at this moment is still, you know, appreciating what I'm doing and what I'm putting out and what I'm creating.
Yeah, because it's a very different album. It's not very different, but I would say it's an evolution of Fish. Would you say that was right?
Every album is
I suppose.
an evolution. You know, I mean, people go on at me, but I mean, I know bands that you go out. I mean, and you know, I mean, people say, well, why don't you do another script? Why don't you write another Misplaced Shelter? It's like, I've done it. You know, why should I try and just redo it and create some ersatz kind of album just to satisfy some sort of nostalgic trip? No, I mean, you know, I think the soul and the passion that I'll try and put in my music, you know, they're very important ingredients, you know, and if you don't love what you do, then why do it, right? And you know, that passion and that soul and the feel that I've got for what I sing and the words that I put together and you know, the way I perform, it's an integral part of what I am, you know, and my sincerity is important to me, you know.
And I think that comes over.
I don't want to, you know, just become a pastiche of myself.
Yeah, I think that comes over into things. One thing I'm very intrigued with, last year you brought out 7 remastered and repackaged albums. You brought out Sunsets of Empire, Rain Gods with Zepos, Fellini Days, Field of Crows, and I can't remember.
No, we've only done the 3 so far.
Oh, you've done the 3 so far?
We've done Fellini Days, Rain Gods with Zippos, and